Frankly, we're going through an exercise right now where we are cutting vital programs which will build our country, educate our children, and care for our families. We need to cut spending, reduce the deficit. We need to bring spending down. But frankly, the process that's going on now has not been well thought out. There were no hearings on it, no exposure to the public's ability to come in and say the quality of these cuts that we're considering. So I think that we need to focus, as we Democrats have been focusing, on educating our children. We cut Pell Grants in the Republicans' proposal. We need to invest in research, and frankly, an awful lot of the business community that watches this program understands investing as opposed to simply spending on non-productive matters. We ought to cut the latter, but we ought to invest in the former. We need to cut spending. We need to restrain spending, but we also need to invest in the future. And slashing teachers, slashing aid to kids to go to college, slashing basic research so that we can expand our economy, those are not the kind of spending cuts that Americans think are wise. But the irony is, when Mr. Hensarling references where we are, we're there because of Republican policies that have been pursued. And frankly, the president has offered a budget which freezes discretionary spending for the next 5 years, brings the deficit down by $400 billion there, but brings the deficit down by $1 trillion. Well, very frankly, Jeb, the rules that you provided for in the start of this session allows you to incur an additional $4.7 trillion in deficits over the next 10 years. Clearly, the private sector is the principal engine of economic growth in our country. Absolutely. But it's interesting to note that Tom Donahue, the chairman of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, indicated that the budget that they're proposing, slashing investment in infrastructure to expand our economy, is not what he supports and doesn't think his chamber members support. So it's not simply those of us in the Congress, Democrats, who are saying that investing in expanding our economy is an important thing to do. We need to work together. The problem confronting this country on our fiscal posture is a very serious one. The president indicated that. Jeb and I agree on that. We've got to come together and solve it, and we've got to do it in a rational way.